Hey guys, welcome. My name is James Wilson, and we're talking about making a slant to where we want you. My heart is to help you be a healthy leader at work and at home. So, this video is really going to talk about, or this podcast is really going to talk about some ways for us to structure our time so that we can be effective. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of responsibilities as a pastor, as a full time student in a master's program with kids, marriage, family, responsibilities, hobbies, all the things that we have. But I'm also very driven. And so I'm a lifelong learner. I like to learn, I like to read, I like to watch a lot of videos. I'm all into self development and things. However, when my time slips through my hand, I start to lose focus on my priorities, lose focus on things that matter. And when that happens, and it does because I'm human, but the whole point of this video is to really share and how we can realign our priorities to make sure that the things that are important to us, we actually spend time on doing. So you'll typically hear somebody say that the priorities are, God, family, and everything else. I think that's fine. I think for us, it's not just really on what we say our priorities are, but it's really on what do we actually do with the time that we have. So if your relationship with God is a priority for you, then I'll ask you to reflect throughout just today, reflect today on how much time have you spent with God. Was it actually valuable time? Was it rushed? Was it something that you gave your full heart to, your full attention to? Now, just because you have God as a number one priority, and doesn't mean you need to spend 12 hours a day in nonstop prayer, right? I mean, we want to pray without ceasing, but like you need to have your eyes open to drive, and you need to have conversations with people and things. So it's I'm not saying that just because God is a priority that you have to have half or 22 hours in a day of nonstop focus on God. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, if God is a priority, then the time that you spent, was it quality time with the Lord? Was it quality prayer? Was it quality time just talking with God? Was it quality time in the scriptures? Or was it rushed? You're playing a video while you're getting ready, or you're trying to listen to the Bible while you're driving, but you're also trying to listen to music, and you got a phone call. You know what I mean? It's all the things that are kind of get jumbled into one. So with priorities, the biggest thing, again, it's not just what we say that they are, but it's what our actions are. And I'll never forget, I am in a master's program right now, and I'll never forget I was at a conference, and we were at a round table, and so we all broke out with the pastors, and I was telling the pastors that I was going back to school to get my degree. And I remember that I had a gentleman, an older pastor, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, James, you need to be careful." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, what's going on?" I want to know. I want to know what's going on. And so he said, "Hey, man, be careful going back, because when I went back, I got a divorce." And I said, "Well, thank you for letting me know." I think in that moment, I think what he was trying to say was that if school becomes a top priority other than time with your family, then the consequences can be negative. Right? Instead of be careful going back to school, I got a divorce, which again I understand. So with that information, you can take it or leave it. But for me, I've realized that communication is essential in any relationship. And so prior to going back to school, I talked with my wife, she was all good. But then it was also, okay, my family is a priority, my marriage is a priority, school is a priority. So if all these things are a priority, how do I spend my time? Because I can't spend all day in my office writing papers. And I can't spend all day in the living room or out and about town with my family, in a sense, because if I do, then how am I going to get the schoolwork done? But then if I'm spending time doing all the schoolwork, how am I spending time with my family? So what I've been able to do, what has worked for me, is to schedule my time with school. I have scheduled my time. Now, I've online. So mine, there's no Zoom. I just, the courses release, and then I go on there and I look at all the material and write the papers or do the projects. However, what I've found is that when it's scheduled, and my wife knows when I'm scheduled to work on school, that she knows that she's prioritized because I'm communicating to her, but then I'm also prioritizing school because I have a scheduled allotted time to get the schoolwork done. So for me, I do school, let's say Mondays from 7 to 9. So I do like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Sunday. Some in the morning, but then primarily what's scheduled is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 2 hours. I know that might not seem much. However, when it's focused, when it's deep work, like Cal Newport talks about, I turn my headphones on, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. I have a standing desk here, so this desk in my office, it actually rises up and down. I have my water, some good healthy snacks to keep my body going because food is fuel. But with that, it's been extremely easy and more effective to say, hey, I have multiple priorities right now, and I can't spend all of my time on one priority. I can spend some of my time on each priority. But with that time that I have, how can I be present? How can I be efficient? How can I be all in with the time that I have? And yes, that even is to rest. So that does not negate rest. Rest also needs to be scheduled. I schedule it because I know I'm a hot mess without it. If I don't have it, then I don't have anything like forcing me to stop. So I schedule it because I know that, hey, it has a start time and an end time, and it's okay to rest. So that has been helpful in regards to priorities, is saying, hey, I have multiple priorities. I have multiple ones. They're all important. Some, yes, are more important than others. But scheduling time with God is a priority for me. And I do that first thing in the morning. So as soon as I wake up, that's what I'm doing. I'm either doing that or riding my bike. So what I do know is it's going to be uninterrupted, and I'm not going to rush it. It's scheduled, but I've allotted enough time so that I don't need to rush my quiet time with God. Just like with my family. Allison and I, we have a regular date night. That's what we do. It is on the schedule. And when we spend that time together, we know that we don't need to rush that night. We just have fun. We put our phones up, our kids are to bed, and we can just have a blast and spend uninterrupted time together because our marriage is a priority. And also the same with school, to have that time on weekdays and only on Sundays because I've made Saturday family day. So the goal for Saturday is there's no school, there's no work, it's just family. But with school, I have it scheduled to say, hey, here's the time that I'm doing these things. I'm going to give it my full attention. I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to learn and write and grow and focus and get it done because I know at 9 o'clock, that's when I need to rest. So from at least 9 to 10:30, I'm resting. I'm either watching a show or I'm hanging out with Allison or I'm playing a video game or just watching some videos. But I do know that I need to get that schoolwork done from 7 to 9. So all that to say is it's okay to have multiple priorities. But what you're hearing from me is I segment them throughout the day. So what I'm not doing is I'm not doing schoolwork at the same time I'm trying to do my quiet time. I'm not having a date night at the same time I'm trying to work and write a sermon. Or I'm not doing homework at the same time I'm trying to write a sermon. When I'm writing you see what I mean? So it's all about how do you time block? How do you schedule throughout the day? Yes, things change. However, it is possible to have multiple priorities because it's the energy that you put in and the focus that you put in. So with that said, I hope that has been a help to you. You can have multiple priorities. Just make sure that you schedule them and that you communicate them. Those are the two biggest things. Actually, 3. You schedule them, you communicate them, and then you don't actually waste time during that. So if my wife is expecting me to be done by 9, I need to do the things I need to do to be done with school by 9. I can't be sitting on my phone scrolling away from 7 to 9 because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? I can take a break afterward, but I do need to do the things I'm supposed to do because if not, it's going to domino effect into those other areas. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or any thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Just email me at james@weloveoneanother.com. Love to hear from you. Until then, continue to have a healthy life and be a healthy leader at work and at home.